Welcome back to the pre-show, guys.
Oh, true. I feel like we always forget to do that even when we're already chatty.
Yeah, this episode is gonna be interesting.
It was a little thrown together. This was not on our plan for this
I
year.
know. Well, I was also just like, I was like, oh shoot, we have to like do an episode this week.
I know. I didn't do my notes until this morning because I
Same.
was not planning on having to do notes this week.
Euphoria being changed around just really messed me up.
Yeah, so last week Euphoria was supposed to be out on Sunday. So we had adjusted our entire December schedule to come out on like Wednesdays, the entire month pretty much, and switch things around because of those two episodes. And then they released the first episode early. So Katie and I were like, crap, okay, let's watch and record and get it out on Monday so that we were like a little more timely. And then we were going to be doing part 2 this week. And then HBO was like, yeah, no, we're not releasing that until January now. Like, what?
Yeah.
They need to get their stuff together.
Yeah, so it's really just thrown us for a bit of a loop.
At least it's the holiday season, so we kind of had an easy thing to just like, let's plug in a Christmas movies episode. Although I wasn't I wore this sweater in our in our happiest season episode because I was like, that's our only Christmas one we're doing all season. And then we ended up doing this one, so I'm an outfit repeater.
It's fine. This month is just so weird. I don't know. Every day I'm so stressed. Like with moving and everything. I hate moving. It never gets easier. Like in college, moving is just so shitty. And then same now, like it's just so hard. And I feel like renting places are so strict. Like the place that we're renting from, we can't even put magnets on the fridge.
Why?
Because it's like stainless steel or whatever. I'm just like, okay, what if I forget? Like, am I gonna get in trouble if I forget? And like, there's just so much to remember. Like, we have to test our smoke alarms. We have to test our carbon monoxide thing. We have to like leave the fan in the bathrooms running for like 3 days because apparently it's like humid in there or something. I'm just like, how does anybody do anything? Like, it's all so exhausting and expensive, and I don't even have a job, and I'm just like paying money like I have it to burn. So sorry, I'm like complaining. I'm happy to like have places to live and stuff, but holy shit, I'm stressed. And then my freaking dog just ruined the past 2 days for me. Yeah, it's just because she didn't let me sleep, but she also had a tummy ache the first night, which wasn't my fault. But we did watch The Bachelorette together this week.
And what's his face is an actual serial killer, Bennett.
He has buck teeth. It's always like, I feel like recently there's been guys, well, I guess there's this person every season, like the villain, and then for some reason the bachelor or bachelorette like can't seem to get rid of them, and they're like, I just feel a real connection with this person. And then she got rid of Spencer.
I'm so mad. That is my biggest grievance with Tayshia to date, is that she got rid of Spencer. I feel like he was really slept on, and I'm really sad that I'm not going to be able to see him on my TV anymore because he's just A+ in my book. No, but you know what? I should.
I was going to say we should look him up because I feel like he's for sure going to get swooped in on.
How can he not? He's so hot.
He might not have just excuse me. Oh, I'm for sure following him. Why I can't read, literally. I'm just trying to read his caption. What was all that 1 in a million talk? Well, I guess not everything has a rosy ending. Greatly appreciate Bachelorette ABC for having me and all the great people I met along the way. Let the journey continue. Peace. What a man.
He's just, I'm following
so
him
yummy.
Now. He is. And his profile picture kind of looks like the headshot for Paradise. I mean, I know they aren't filming Paradise, but
yeah,
if he was on Paradise, that'd be great.
You know who he kind of looks like? Nathan Scott from One Tree Hill.
He does,
like older, scruffier, like slightly hotter.
People said that he looks like the brunette Paul Walker, and I think
literally Get Out.
I know. I was just looking at that one.
Well, Spencer, if you're listening, just know that we were rooting for you. And now Ben is both of our number ones, right? Is Ben your number one?
I really like Ben. Yeah, he'd be my number one for sure.
But we did, okay. Up until recently, though, Spencer's Instagram is kind of bad.
Yeah, but you know what?
If you scroll past like the first 2 rows, it's really bad.
But you know what? That also makes me feel better about him, that he doesn't have like a curated feed.
Yeah.
You know, that he's just a little more normal. Like if you look at, you know, when people are really trying to cultivate an image and their Instagram is just like really showing that really hard, like it doesn't look like that.
Yeah, he could have been a real one. Tasha, you're dumb for that.
And then if she doesn't pick Ben, you really dumb.
Or never in my life would I know I'm not oh, true. I like him too. Turtleneck. He has really good style.
He does. He has the best style, I think, out of the guys that are left, for sure.
Yeah, and I just Tasha is her own person and she's doing whatever she wants, but like I never in my life would walk into a room and pick Bennett over Spencer based on looks and then also like their personalities.
Yeah.
I guess if Spencer like wasn't making moves to fight for her, I guess, but it's like Bennett is such a douche.
He's a turnoff. Like just his whole personality, the way he talks, the way he speaks to people, it's just like, it doesn't, even if he looked like Spencer, but he had that attitude, like I would hate Spencer that, like I would still like him because it's just like his whole vibe is such a turnoff.
Yeah.
That's not it. And he's a bad villain, honestly. He's just not even like a good villain. You know, he's not like Luke P, where Luke P was just like so deep into his bullshit that at least he was somewhat entertaining to watch. Bennett just annoys me.
Yeah, and he's like sending Noah those gifts. And then he kept being like, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah, that's not an apology.
No.
That's not, because then it's still putting it on the other person that you're feeling this way, and that's not really my problem.
Yeah, he was such a gaslighter in the last episode. And I wasn't caught up, like I haven't been watching recently, but that last episode, he just kept being like, I would never say that or anything. And she's like, well, you did, like you're making me feel like this. And he's like, I'm sorry you feel that way. And then when she said to Noah, like, this was in no way a win for you, and she didn't give him the rose.
That was great.
She should have sent both of them home.
Yeah.
The fact that she picked Noah over Spencer, get out.
He's also only 24. I mean, I get it that age is not really, like, I don't think age is that big of a deal. I don't think Tasha really thinks that age is that big of a deal. But really, she's like 31. And is she 31? Or is she like 29? I don't know, but she's very just like mature and just like, I feel like she knows what she wants and like who she is. And I don't feel like Noah is at that same point in his life, at least from what I've seen on TV. Granted, I do not know him. So obviously all these things that we're talking about are all just based off what we see on TV and online. But
it just surprises me.
For Noah, I can't see them together. Like her and Ivan are much more like equally matched, like intellectually, life level wise, you know?
Same with her and Brendan. I feel like their connection and just like their shared, not that like because both of them are divorced that makes them a good match, but like they've been through similar things and they've had more life experience where like the relationship would probably work better. But it really surprises me to see these people who are like older, you know, and again, it's like not saying that they should be desperate and really serious about finding love, because they probably are, but every person claims to be really like looking for love, but then they seem to get really wrapped up in this like game show mentality. Like Tasha seems to be leaning more towards the men who are fighting for her and like jumping over the fence to like fight physically for her, or Bennett being like creepy and showing back up again. But at the end of the day, do you want that over somebody who's like mature and emotionally good for you and like not gaslighting you? Like just because they're fighting for you, that's not always, I don't know. It feels very game show, and it's like, okay, if you're actually looking for love, and I get it, like the producers are influencing stuff, and it's probably really easy to get wrapped up in all of it, but it's just like, oh my God, sometimes watching it, I'm just like, you people, you'll never be happy. Should we get into it?
Sure. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Buckle up.
Because it's going to be a long ride.
It's going to be a wild ride.
No one cares, but we're going to tell you anyways.
This is Popcorn Chats.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Popcorn Chats. I'm Katie.
And I'm McKay.
And this week, we got kind of slapped in the face a little bit by HBO. She said no. She gave us Rue's episode of the special episode of Euphoria early. And then we were like, ooh, is Jules' episode gonna be early too? And she was like, no. We have to wait till January 28th, apparently. Sorry about that, guys, but it's also not our fault. Anyways, we had to scramble and get a little something together. And since it's the holiday season, it was kind of easy. And we just decided to do our top 5 favorite holiday movies. And we will have the next Euphoria episode next month, apparently. It is tragic. What it is, but I think this will be a fun, short, easy breezy, beautiful episode. And I hope it gets me in the Christmas spirit because, girl, I am just not feeling it. First of all, hello, global warming. There is no such thing as snow in December anymore. And
just wait for tomorrow.
That's what they're saying, but yeah, I don't know. As of right now, there's no snow, so maybe that's why I'm just not feeling it. Also, I'm stressed, depressed. My hair's a mess. If you are streaming this and you want to head over to YouTube to catch our visual-only pre-show, you can do that and see Michaela's cute little Christmas setup and hear us talk about The Bachelorette. Anyways, check in.
So, yesterday, my world was just turned upside down. 2020 was resurrected for me. Because Disney and Star Wars made all of these announcements. If you are a Star Wars fan, you definitely know what I'm talking about. But so I'm excited for most of them. However, the one in particular that got me tearing, got me really good, is the fact that Hayden Christensen is coming back as Darth Vader in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I am so excited. This is literally the best news I've gotten all year. Like, it has no competition even. Like, this is the best news of 2020 for me. So, Ewan McGregor has already been confirmed that he's going to be coming back and playing Obi-Wan Kenobi in the series. And that's the cherry on top of the cake. You know what? Kathleen Kennedy and Star Wars were like, we need someone send a message to Hayden Christensen's farm and get him back. It's what the bitches need. And that was what I needed, and I'm so excited.
Even I'm excited for that. How ironic that we literally just had the prequels episode.
I know. Yeah, it's gonna be huge. I cannot wait for it. So that's great. One of my favorite authors of this year. So I had just finished 2 paintings for 2 of the books in the series that I read, and I follow her on Instagram. So I was like, I'm just gonna DM her like these pictures and just say like, hey, I really loved this series. It's a great book, whatever. And she responded and she was like, oh my God, I love those so much. So that was so awesome.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, it was really cool. There have been a couple of good things. However, y'all, we rise. This asshole, some asshole at my sister-in-law's work told her to her face that Elliot was not that cute. And that's my nephew. Yeah. He told her to her face. He turned to her in a meeting and was like, sorry, but your baby's not as cute as the other ones. No lie.
What do you mean other ones?
So they're at her work. I'm obviously not saying where she worked, but at her work, they put together a slideshow, I guess, of all of the kids that were born this year at the company. So obviously my sister-in-law had my nephew's picture up there. And this guy apparently in the middle of the meeting was like commenting on the other babies in the slideshow and just saying like, oh, that one's wearing like a Packer shirt. I like the Bears. Like, oh, that one's really cute. Like just making comments, which I'm like, first of all, why are you really even doing that at all? Except for just saying like, ooh and ah, like that's all you should be saying. And then when my nephew's picture came up, he's like, I'm sorry, but your baby, or no, I don't even think he said I'm sorry. I think he just said like, your baby's not as cute as the other ones.
Literally throw all men away. That is so stupid. Okay, first of all, Elliot is one of the cutest little things I've ever seen, and I don't like children. He's so cute. His little porcupine costume.
Was that not the cutest shit ever? So just so rude. I'm like, that's something that you think in your head, and then you go home and you say like, hey, so and so's baby isn't very cute. You never say that to the mother. Like, and also it's just the fact that like Elliot is the fucking cutest.
Yeah.
So I don't even know where he's getting this from. That was my bit of a downer for the day, but
that makes me really upset.
How about you, Katie? I know you're stressed about moving.
Yeah, I'm stressed about moving. I just feel like I have a lot of things going on right now just because I don't have like one full-time job. I'm kind of doing lots of random little things and it's very like stressful, hard for me to focus. Yeah, and then I just had to puppy sit my parents' dog the past 2 days and that just really took a toll and it made me feel bad about myself because I'm like, you can't even take care of a dog. Like, ugh, get your life together. I guess for me this week it's same old fucking old. I don't really have a whole lot. I rewatched Bombshell last night and definitely just felt the power of 1,000 Suns. And it made me feel so good to watch, or not, I guess good, but it's just like looking back on when Trump first rose to power and everything and how we've like gotten him out. That felt good.
Yeah.
Because this was my first time watching it since I watched it in theaters last year. It rings so true still to this day. Again, it's just like men have no filter. That movie is so good. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it and go back and listen to that episode because it's one of my favorites that we've done.
I need to go back and rewatch that movie because I haven't seen it either since theaters. So I need to, and I want to re-listen to that episode because still thinking back, like that is one that I still am really proud of us for, especially for being so early on. Before we jump in, I just have a couple of questions for you, Katie. What makes a great Christmas movie for you?
We sort of talked about this with Happiest Season, the nostalgia factor. Anything regarding Christmas, it's a lot of like childhood nostalgia and you do the same things year after year because it's tradition and it makes you think of being younger at Christmas. For me, good Christmas movies are the ones that I've been watching since I was a kid. And I think that's different for everybody. Like everybody has the ones that they grew up watching. With Christmas movies, I think it's a very personal thing. And what might be the best Christmas movie for one person isn't necessarily the best for another person.
I agree. I think nostalgia plays a huge role in Christmas movies. And I think just the holiday season in general. And like even just like the treats that you make and the decorations that you put up and the traditions that you have of doing things. So I think that's the same way with movies, but like my perfect Christmas movie has like humor in it, but it also has heart and nostalgia. Yeah, I think all of mine on my list pretty much have those elements in it.
I think there are different types of Christmas movies. Some of them are very like bright, holly jolly, whatever, like typical Christmas. And then some of them tend to take on a more darker tone. And it kind of depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes I just want the light, fluffy, like elf movie or something. But sometimes I like the darker, like Christmas Carol vibe.
I think like especially as you get older and like your family members are not necessarily like all living by each other, or you lose some family members, and it's like those first holiday seasons after those losses and things can really make the holidays a hard time for a lot of people. Or if you're just really lonely, like the holidays I think like feel extra lonely.
As you get older, you kind of realize that the world is like a darker place, and just because it's Christmas doesn't mean that that darkness goes away, but it's also like a time to reflect on what you have and what you can be grateful for, and just like recognizing what truly matters. I think that's what the darker themes kind of remind me of. It's like, okay, the presents and the like commercial bright like fluffy stuff is fun with Christmas, but that's not actually what matters. One other thing, I just think it's interesting, like the different interpretations of the holiday season. Like some Christmas movies talk about the family all getting together and the issues or like funny scenarios that arise with that. Some people talk about like finding the perfect gift. You know, there's just like different interpretations about what happens during the holidays, and that's what I like about Christmas movies. And also what I find really interesting is the different interpretations of Santa and the North Pole and how each film handles that. The movie The Santa Claus, that North Pole versus like, I don't know, the North Pole in the Polar Express or something completely different. And I just think that's cool.
I think it's tricky. We kind of talked about this in our Happiest Season episode. I think it's tricky for new movies to break into the Christmas genre or like the holiday genre, because you're kind of dealing with the same set of circumstances. Even how everything can have a new twist put on it, but you're pretty much dealing with like family dynamics, Santa Claus, gifts, sometimes religion, but not really as much in like mainstream Christmas movies, that you can only do so much with those same parameters. And I think also the nostalgia factor, new movies just aren't going to have that. So I do think it's trickier. I wanted to know if there are any like recent movies that you've seen that you have in your Christmas rotation, or like that you would add in your Christmas rotation, or are all of yours pretty old?
All of mine are pretty old. The most recent is from 2004. I guess maybe Happiest Season I'll watch again next year, but I liked Bad Moms Christmas. I thought that movie was funny, but again, it's not like really a Christmas movie. I mean, it is, but yeah, no real recent ones that I would necessarily bring into my Christmas rotation, I guess, because I don't even get around to all of them as it is, so it would be stressful for me to add anymore.
Yeah, in my top 5, I don't have any recent ones. In some of my honorable mentions, I have some newer ones, but they're ones that it's more like if I have the time to get around to them, I'll watch them, but they're not necessarily like the ones that every single year my entire family sits down and watches. I think the newest one that we would have in that rotation, I think, is also from 2004, which I'm wondering if it's the same movie. So pretty much all of these, I don't have too much to... I feel like I'm going to say the same thing about all of them, so I am going to try to keep it pretty brief and pretty concise. At number 5, I have the Santa Claus 1 and 2. I couldn't really pick because they both have to be watched every year. That's going to be the common thing with all 5 of my top movies. These all have to be watched every single year, period. There's like no excuses. I watch these 5 movies. But Santa Claus 1 and 2 both have to be watched, not 3. 3 is atrocious. It's just iconic. Tim Allen is the king of Christmas for me, besides Jim Carrey. We'll get into that later. I always thought that the hot cocoa looked delicious in the first movie. I want that hot cocoa recipe. And I just think it's a cool story, and I like the progression across the films with like his relationship with Charlie, his love life, how Santa morphs him and the people around him. I like the interpretation of the North Pole. I like the idea of Santa Claus in this. I like the spin on that and the elves. And I love like Father Time and the Tooth Fairy and the other creatures that everyone thinks are real when you're younger. I like having all of them in there as well. And yeah, it's just cute. I love Santa Claus 1 and 2. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is It's a Wonderful Life, directed by Frank Capra, 1946. I've talked about this movie before on the pod, not super in depth. I'm not going to go super in depth like MICHAE'S had. This is an example of what I'm kind of talking about, like the darker side of Christmas. And it's not just talking about Christmas, I guess. Like we follow this man from the beginning of his life to the point that he's in now, where he's thinking about ending his life. I've been watching this movie since I was little, but as I get older, I relate to it more and more the older I get, and just feeling overwhelmed. And he says in the movie, George Bailey, he's like, I'm at the end of my rope. And I'm just like, I feel that way sometimes, George. I totally get it. Like, life is so stressful, and you can lose sight of how good things actually are. I think it allows us to like be wrapped up in his struggles while also like getting to meet all these people that are such a good part of his life. But then when he's thinking about ending it all, we're kind of like with him in that, because it is very stressful. We don't really know where how he can get out of this situation. But yeah, and then we get to see what the world would be like if he was never born, and all the people that his life affected. It's just a good movie to watch at the end of every year, especially at the end of this year. Like, it's so easy to look back on 2020 and be like, nothing was good about this year. I'm just ready to move on. It's a good reminder that like you do have it good, and the good things like stick with you year after year. And it's an old movie that holds up. Like, it really doesn't make me cringe that much.
My number 4 is Elf, 2003. Iconic. So funny. The mailroom scene is genuinely one of the funniest scenes I can think of. I love the fish out of water scenario. We've talked about this before on the podcast, like with Wonder Woman, and it's a trope that's used over and over in film, but I think in this one they can really like cheese it up a lot and really kind of make Buddy look dumb, you know?
Yeah.
Where in Wonder Woman they didn't want to make Wonder Woman look dumb, obviously. But in Elf, you could kind of do that. Like when he's eating the gum off of the railings and spinning around in the revolving doors and the world's best cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
There's just things like that are just really endearing and really cute in a Christmas movie that just works. The tone of this movie is perfect. Like, I think everything from beginning to end feels very on brand for the whole film. Will Ferrell, this role was just like made for him. I think this is his finest work in my personal opinion. Besides kicking and screaming, I think this is just his bread and butter. The mom is iconic. She's everyone's mom in movies. Yep. And she was just in Happiest Season. Peter Dinklage's role in this. I mean, of course, you bring in Tyrion. Thank you. And I just love the story of Buddy and the creativity of the story. I can't think of a movie that's similar to this in any way, shape, or form, really. It's pretty unique and something original and different for a Christmas movie. I thought a while back they were talking about doing like a sequel or something, but I'm glad that they just left it alone. I don't think Christmas movies need sequels, and I think this really is just like a perfect Christmas movie from front to back.
Did you see that they're making a second Hocus Pocus?
I did.
Get out.
I don't want it or need it, but fine. We'll probably end up covering it.
Yep.
Yeah, Elf just has everything I want. It has humor, it has heart, it has all of the Christmas elements that I love, and the nostalgia.
Christmas with the Cranks is my number 4, directed by Joe Roth, 2004. Did I steal one of yours?
Yeah, that's okay.
Dang, okay. God damn
I love this movie so much, but I just won't comment until it's my turn.
Obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis is my queen, you guys. I love her so much. I like the idea of skipping Christmas, and I like the over-traumatization of everyone reacting to them skipping Christmas about it being like such a big deal. I do get kind of annoyed with the neighbors. I'm just like, who cares that much? Like, literally leave them alone. And I think it does a good job of showing like the superficial and commercialized version of Christmas. I am totally with the Cranks, Luther and Nora. They just want to skip it because their daughter is not going to be home for the first time because she's in the freaking Peace Corps. Like, I don't see what's wrong with that.
They want to go on a cruise, go on a cruise.
Yeah, whatever. And they just don't want to spend a bunch of money. Like, I totally get that. I don't know. I love the scene of everybody trying to throw it together when the daughter surprises them that they're coming home. And I love the snow starting to fall and Baby Please Come Home playing as she's like pulling into the neighborhood. I just get chills every time during that scene. Obviously, Hickory Honey Ham. That is like some of Jamie Lee Curtis's finest work. It's so funny.
Smoked trout.
The guy that nobody knows who he is just like showing up, I think is funny. When Tim Allen is like, "What's a Rike?"
It's so stupid, but so funny.
I cry laughing every time. And yeah, the ending is sweet. It makes me cry every time Luther gives Bev the trip. Sorry, I stole your thunder.
No, that's fine.
I feel like I'm always the one to steal the thunder.
Yeah, because I think you just have things lower on your list. Where then, like, what does that say about me that I rank things higher?
Dang it.
My number 3 is A Year Without a Santa Claus, the 1974 made-for-TV movie. This is my earliest childhood memory of a Christmas movie. This and then Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, that is also like the made-for-TV movie. I love the claymation style. It's just so classic and cute and just really the Christmas vibe, you know? And I love Heat Miser and Snow Miser. I love their little song. I love Santa and Mrs. Claus and Jingle and Jangle and Vixen. I just love all the little like adventures that they have in it. I think it's so cute. Like, yes, it's old, but the story and the characters are still just adorable and fun. And it is the most nostalgic Christmas movie for me. And I just have such good memories of watching this when I was younger and being so excited to see these come on. And even now, still watching them as an adult, I just so appreciate the old style of them. It's just so cute. And I remember the Abominable Snowman I used to be so terrified of. But now I'm just like, why? He's literally like a clay snowman.
Yeah.
And then when he puts the tree on top of the star on top of the tree and they're like, look what he can do. That's what we always say when my brother can like reach things because he's really tall too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so cute and I really love them.
Yeah, I like the claymations too. They're so cute. And like, You gotta appreciate the time it must have taken to make those.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. Okay, moving on. My number 3 is A Christmas Story, Bob Clark, 1983. Have you seen this movie?
No.
You've never seen A Christmas Story?
Oh, wait, is this the BB gun one?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, wait, I have seen that.
The mom and dad are hilarious, especially the dad. I mean, I think this movie does a very good job of portraying the excitement and anxiety of a kid leading up to Christmas Day and just like throughout the whole season of Christmas. I think the direction of the film is so brilliant in the way that it focuses on capturing the child's perspective, like lots of low shots, the dramatization of their interactions with adults and like bullies being really scary. It just reminds me of being a kid and how things used to feel, especially during the holidays. And I think that's why it holds up so well, because everyone can relate to it, because it captures that feeling so well. No matter what age you are, like looking back, you can remember what it's like or what it was like. I just think every Christmas when you're older, like it doesn't live up to, at least for me, it doesn't live up to like how it used to be when I was a kid. But I think this movie does a good job of like preserving that nostalgia and like making you kind of helping you relive that and feel like you are a kid again when you're immersed in the movie. And it plays like all day on TBS. So we always just have that on in the background when we're opening presents.
I love those syndicated movies.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 2 is Christmas with the Cranks, like Katie had just talked about. It's just hilarious. It is a classic in my family. It's so quotable. It has everything I want, the humor, the heart, and the Christmas spirit. I love Tim Allen, and as Katie said, we are a pro Jamie Lee Curtis podcast here. And honestly, it's something that I could see my parents doing in the future once they kick me out of their basement, because we do a lot for Christmas in terms of like decorating and treat making. We don't really do as much like parties and stuff that I think a lot of other people tend to do. But I mean, my mom gets together with like her sisters. My dad gets together with his family. Now that we're like expanding families and my brother has his own family, like they are doing kind of their own thing. I'm the expendable family member, as known from our Christmas card this year. So no one cares where I'm at or what I'm doing.
That is the thing we all need to rise against as well.
Yeah, guys, I was written out of my family's Christmas card this year. Well, not written out. I just wasn't included. So I honestly could see my parents doing this in the future and just taking the money and going on a vacation somewhere. Like, I genuinely really could.
Yeah.
So I just think it's funny. I think the tanning scene when they're in the mall and then the priest shows up in their little Speedo and bikini, I just think is hilarious. The hickory honey ham, the white chocolate. I didn't think to ask the butcher where the chocolate was.
Yeah.
It's just funny, and it's just one of those that, again, I like the idea of skipping Christmas. I think it's pretty original when looking at a lot of these different movies, because when you're thinking of a lot of the other classics, it's people being so stressed out about Christmas but still trying to cram in every single thing, where this is Luther and Nora just being like, we don't really want to have this dress of that this year, so like let's not do it to ourselves. And I think that's a pretty original idea, and one that I can't really think of something similar.
Yeah, and I don't get why like they feel so bad about it.
Yeah, and especially once you hit that point, not that I'm like calling them old, but I think once you're like in your 50s, your kids are out of your house, like it's not really as big of a deal, I don't think, anymore. Like Christmas to me is still like very exciting every time of year, and like I get excited to get the decorations out and for Christmas Day and doing like our traditions, but I could see like 30 years down the road just being like same old, you know?
And also like there's nothing wrong with having a more toned down Christmas. Like no one's getting on Bev and her husband for just having their simple little Christmas. And obviously like Bev is sick, so if people were getting on them, that would be really rude.
I don't know. I think everyone should just be allowed to do Christmas their own way. And I think Nora and Luther were justified in their decision to go on a cruise.
Yeah, I think people make it so stressful, especially moms. I feel like moms are just like, oh, it's so stressful and I'm just trying to get through it. And it's like, it shouldn't be like that. You should enjoy it. And no one is having a gun to your head and forcing you to do anything. And obviously moms want to make it special for their kids, but the kids are going to enjoy it no matter what you do. Yeah. I'm over here talking like moms are listening to us for advice. We are the last place. We are the last place. I couldn't even take care of my parents' puppy. So take what I say with a grain of salt. All you moms listening.
Neither of us really have plans to have children.
If anything, like, I just really canceled all my plans. I don't even know if I can take care of a dog now because I could not take care of Josie.
I can barely take care of myself. I haven't brushed my hair today. Anyways, your number 2, Katie.
My number 2 is The Polar Express, directed by Robert Zemeckis, 2004. This is another film that I feel addresses the darker tone of Christmas, and I love that. It's entertaining for kids, I think. I remember seeing it in theaters when it first came out in 2004. I was a little girly. For adults, the themes are actually pretty deep. It discusses the topic of belief and whether or not seeing is believing. And I think the film's take on the North Pole is one of my favorites. When the kids are running around the downtown area, the present slides and conveyor belts and the huge bag of gifts. It's kind of like the most realistic, which obviously is dumb to say, but for me, I feel like if there were a North Pole, it would be the Polar Express. Yeah, for sure. No, but if there were a North Pole, it would be. I think the Polar Express is like as close. You know what I mean?
It's a
like
sweatshop.
Yeah, right. And that gift bag would be huge, just like that. And it's like this huge thing. And then the sleigh is like the little. I love that.
Yeah.
And then all the elves are kind of like grumpy and like, you know, they're not like these holly jolly people. They're workers that work all year for no pay for greedy, ungrateful little kids. I like it. I don't know. I think some people are turned off by this movie because of the uncanny valley situation, and this type of animation makes some people uncomfortable. I don't feel that way, but I understand it bothers some people.
We don't watch this one in my household because of that reason, because my mom doesn't like it. She like can't watch it. She thinks it's so creepy.
Yeah, it's a thing that actually does bother some people, so I understand. One of my favorite parts is when they're running around and the girl can hear the sleigh bells really well because she's like a firm believer in Santa. The unnamed kid who doesn't believe, he can't hear them and he's getting really frustrated. Silver Bells is playing on the record player and it gets stuck. And it's like ring-a-ling, 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 and it's playing over and over again. I just like that symbolism. I don't know. I think it's smart, like having the artificial bell playing over and over again while he's frustrated that he can't hear the bell because he needs to see Santa to believe. And then right up until Santa comes out, he still can't see. And it's like, you just gotta believe, kid. You're not gonna see him. It's just good, okay? It's deep. My belief is that the 3 characters that Tom Hanks plays, because every adult in this film is Tom Hanks, I think they each represent a member of the Holy Trinity, and I just think that's cool. Like, it makes this movie more entertaining to watch because I pick up on more symbolism every time. I think the ghost is obviously the Holy Ghost. I think the conductor is Jesus, and I think Santa is God. That's why I think it's like a movie for adults and kids. It like makes you interrogate your belief system.
And it's really turned into like way more than just a movie too, because they have like Polar Express trains that you can take. I mean, not this year, obviously, but ever since that movie came out, that's a thing that you can like get on a train and they do like the whole Polar Express. You get hot chocolate and stuff.
Again, it's just cool that like this storybook became a movie with like this really dynamic plot and all this symbolism and everything.
Let's do our honorable mentions first.
Okay.
I have quite a few, but I'll just rapid fire them. Christmas Vacation, classic. Deck the Halls, underrated, but I think hilarious. Miracle on 34th Street, cute. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, my family's other staple movie. We watch that every single year. Again, so quotable and just hilarious. I love Steve Martin. A Bad Mom's Christmas. It was unnecessary, but it's very funny and not your typical Christmas movie, so I do just enjoy that. It's more of just a laugh. And Why Him? It's technically a Christmas movie. I wouldn't only watch this one around the holidays, though. This would be one that I would watch like outside of the holiday season. I'm pretty sure it's the only one I would. Because it's not like super Christmassy. It's just more centered around like a family meeting at Christmas, but it's not really supposed to be a Christmas movie. But it's hilarious nonetheless.
I never saw that, but I wanted to. Mine are Home Alone, Santa, just the first one. The rest, no. I started watching the second one the other day. It is literally the first one. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, claymation. Gotta love it. The cartoon Grinch, you know, Dr. Seuss is How the Grinch, not the new one. no, we don't do anything past Jim Carrey. Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas.
Oh my God, I forgot about those. Those are so cute.
A Christmas Carol, pretty much any version. I like the new Disney version with Jim Carrey. I also like the Mickey Mouse cartoon version. And Snowed In at the House of Mouse, baby. Had that on VHS too. That was so good. Rudolph, Frosty, and the Santa Claus.
So many good ones. So Katie and I both knew that we would have the same number one Christmas movie, which is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, 2000, directed by Ron Howard. We're just going to kind of ping pong, I guess, on this one because it is the most iconic Christmas movie, in my opinion.
If you don't like this movie, I do not fuck with you. Like, period. If it's not your favorite, fine. But, like, if you don't like it, get out.
How can you not? How can you not? It's so funny. Like, genuinely, every single scene is so funny and so quotable. I quote this movie year round. The
Me
answering
too.
machine, jury duty, blackmail, pink slip, his schedule, dinner with myself. I just can't cancel that again. Like, just everything is so funny.
Yes. If you know me at all, you know that this is my favorite movie of all time. I come from a Grinch family. I've been very clear about that on this podcast. My family and I, like, this is our biggest inside joke. We quote it, like Michaela said, year round. My sister literally wrote a Grinch quote in my, like, senior farewell that is permanently forever in our senior yearbook. She says something about, like, gut you like a fish or something. If you like to fax me, press the star key. Like, they somehow let her put that printed in the yearbook like a psychopath. You didn't tell me about the chair.
It's so good. It's so good. And Jim Carrey is perfect. Nobody else that I can think of could do this role as he did it. Everything. Oh, when he's trying on the different clothes to go. My mom and I do that in the dressing room at stores. We're like, that's it. I'm not going.
Grab a handful of popcorn chip and blow out of there.
And Max. And Cindy Lou. And when the holiday lights, the like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
That machine looks so cool.
Martha
Betty.
May is iconic.
Hi.
She is a gay icon, and I love her so much when she's like, oh wow, it's handcrafted.
Isn't it divine? It's just everyone is so perfect in their roles. The world is so cool. The setting, the sets, and all the decoration in it, especially like the Grinch's lair. So cool and so much fun. Just like how you would think of a Dr. Seuss world blown up in real life.
Yeah, and these people, just how into Christmas they are, and they live inside of a snowflake. It's just wild.
Yeah.
One that you go till you buy a shampoo.
And then when they have the big countdown of the minutes until Christmas, and then everyone's like, and then keeps going.
I used to love that, and I, would get so excited for Christmas when I was little, and I'd be like, I can't wait till it's 4 hours till Christmas, and we'd be watching like 20 days till Christmas, and that would feel so far away.
I think that this movie is just the perfect mix of humor, holiday spirit, and heart, which again are like the three elements of what I'm looking for in a Christmas movie, and this one hits on every single one of them. I do love at the end how like the Grinch has his little moment of his heart growing. And this is a movie kind of around a villain, which if you listen to the pod, that is all I want. I want an origin story of every villain. And that's kind of this movie a bit.
Yeah, because if you just watch the cartoon, the old cartoon version, or read the book, the Dr. Seuss book that it's based on, you don't really know why the Grinch hates Christmas. But this movie puts stark into that and makes you understand that he suffered a trauma when he was a child, and everybody is just kind of a bitch to him, and so no wonder he hates the Who's and screams at them alphabetically off a cliff.
I hate you.
Oh my god, it's so funny. And the ladies that took care of him, are you two still living?
Living.
Oh my god.
Hate. loathe.
Oh my god.
All of my horrible Grinch impressions. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Mine are bad too. If you watch it on Freeform always does deleted scenes with any movies, like the Harry Potter movies. They'll put in the deleted scenes and the stuff. The Grinch deleted scene, the one of the competition between Cindy Lou Who's mom and Martha May Houffier. Biggest injustice ever when the mayor, who low-key reminds me of Donald Trump, reads out Martha May's name even though Cindy Lou's mom won. I feel like injustice is portrayed a lot in Christmas movies. Rudolph. Biggest injustice. Mm-hmm. Everyone is so cruel to Rudolph. Obviously, the Grinch is another injustice. Mm-hmm. For some reason, injustice is covered a lot in Christmas movies, and that scene makes me very upset, period. It just really bothers me. I feel bad because clearly Cindy Lou Who's family is a middle-class family just trying to get by, and just, the mom is just trying to make a good Christmas for Cindy. And I feel so bad for Cindy when she's like, I just wanted everybody to be together for Christmas. I know. And she just doesn't she just wants Christmas to mean more than presents.
This movie's deep when you think about it.
It is. And her little Where Are You Christmas? Jojo Siwa, cancel yourself. She has no right to be covering that song.
Wait, covered it?
Yes, she has a Christmas album coming out, and she is screaming like she does, singing that song, and that is just not okay with me. That does not sit well. Just like any recreation of the Grinch, we will not be talking about the most recent recreation of it, because there is no room for that on our podcast. Matthew Morrison, you too should cancel yourself. You and Jojo Siwa go hop into a hole and starve.
We're really in the Christmas spirit, everyone.
I'm very passionate.
But really, though, Matthew Morrison, you had no right. Again, the audacity of men. Any remakes of The Grinch just will not be welcome. And I was just about to say, unless it's Jim Carrey, but honestly, Jim Carrey, you gave the performance of a lifetime in this. Mm-hmm. You don't need to touch it. Also, his moment when he's impersonating Ron Howard, too, in the movie, when he's with Max. Yeah. I love that, bit of, what would you call that?
Where it's breaking the fourth wall, kind of.
Yeah, a little bit. I like
someone. That. Yeah, it's very self-aware. Yeah, but I'm just so grateful for this movie. I know that the role was very taxing for Jim Carrey because the makeup and costume and everything was very uncomfortable, understandably. And the Who's had to go through training about how to walk and everything. So I think any remake is low-key disrespectful. Mm-hmm. And
just never gonna top the original. That's what you want to do with the remake. You want to top the original, and you just can't do that with this. It's not toppable. It's like the Carol of the Bells by Trans-Siberian Orchestra. You can't top that.
Absolutely. There's just no contest.
This is the Penn ultimate Christmas movie for me. This is the one that we haven't watched yet as a family this year, but I kind of want to wait, and I think we're gonna wait until Christmas Eve to watch it, because it really is just the end all be all Christmas movie that I want to save it and be excited to watch it.
Yeah, we did the damn thing, and another episode in the books.
Next week, we have a very exciting week and a very monumental moment for the podcast. It is going to be our 1-year anniversary. So the episode is going to be out on our actual 1-year anniversary. So it will be out on a Wednesday instead of a Monday. So just a reminder on that. But we're really excited about it to commemorate 1 year on the pod. I think when we started, Katie and I knew that we would be going this long, but I don't think really anyone else around us thought that we would make it a full year. It's a really big accomplishment, so we're excited to celebrate that and have that episode out. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure that you are following us, and so that way it comes to your homepage every single time, or every Monday when we upload an episode. If you're on Apple Pods listening, please make sure you subscribe to us, give us a rating and review. We so much appreciate that. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure that you are subscribing to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, hit the bell so you get notified every time so that you can watch our visual-only pre-show. Thank you guys so much for listening. Yeah, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. I hope that you find comfort at the end of this crazy year, and I hope that everybody gets to spend time with friends or family, because I know traveling is just hard for some people. Yeah, there's my dog barking. And with that, goodbye.
And with that, wear a mask, stay safe, stay inside. And yeah,
LYLAS.
we'll see you next year.
Oh.
Or next year. Jesus.
And
LYLAS.
LYLAS! That was a terrible outro.